Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and I've got a major red alert to share with you guys. You see, right now we have the option of taking two paths. One of those paths will lead us to freedom, and that is not an easy path. The other path is where we do little to nothing, and then we are led like lambs to the globalist slaughter into this nightmare Orwellian world that makes George Orwell's 1984 look like a walk in the park. I'm talking about everything that you do, everything that you say, and everywhere that you go is not only tracked and monitored, but you're told what you can and can't do in your own households. Yes, this is a real plot, and I'm about to expose it via globalist elite authoritarians at the top that you and I didn't elect. These are billionaires and trillionaires with their mouthpiece, big tech corporations and mainstream media who are attempting to rule over not only the United States of America. We're enemy number one in their book because we're capitalists, right? They want to destroy our country, but they want to take out the globe with them as the authority over us all. But don't worry, according to them, it's in the name of saving the planet that has never really needed saving before, but suddenly through this climate change, global warming, global cooling, whatever new name they want to give it, because it never panned out, under this banner, they want to make you a slave. And look, they want to keep these COVID-19 regulations around, but just revamped in the name of climate change. Now, if you've not checked me out on Restricted Republic, right now I put out a report on there and I've got to bring attention to it, but it's globalists have assured us that all roads lead to this one disastrous end. And trust me, it's not good. I reveal more information and really dive into how COVID-19 parallels the exact agenda of Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and your new Green Deal. So check it out there. There's only so much I can say here on YouTube. And right now we've got that 14-day free trial. But anyhow, right now there is a globalist plot to take over all of society and make us a slave plantation. And they're all doing it under the banner of what they're calling a great reset of society. Take a look at this report here on CNBC. Coronavirus crisis presents a golden opportunity to reboot the economy, Prince Charles says. TheHill.com introducing the Great Reset. World leaders radically plan to transform the economy. And you know what? It's not just globalist leaders like your Bill Gates and your Prince Charles and your Fauci types that are pushing this kind of globalist reset. It's also global organizations. And the World Economic Forum is one of the main ones leading the way. And if you're not familiar with the World Economic Forum, it's basically a bunch of globalist authoritarians that we didn't elect, right? Billionaires and trillionaires trying to call the shots for the world in order to benefit their own pockets financially. That's what it is in a nutshell. But the World Economic Forum is spearheading this great reset. Take a look. World Economic Forum, now is the time for a great reset. Here's another one, worldeconomicforum.org. We must move on from neoliberalism in the post-COVID-19 era. Now, if you don't know what neoliberalism is, here's the definition. Neoliberalism is a political approach that favors free market capitalism, deregulation, and reduction in government spending. In other words, the World Economic Forum is telling us that they don't want capitalism, that they are trying to get rid of the idea of capitalism and the idea of a reduction in government spending. In other words, they want to embolden government, make the government so massive that basically they're the sole employer of the masses, where governments take over everything. That's called communism, right? That's what it's called. And that's exactly what they're pushing, but they don't put the label or term on it because they know that the public won't accept it if you put the true name, but I digress. They're absolutely trying to obliterate capitalism. Here's what they say in the article. No event since World War II has had such a profound global impact as COVID-19. The pandemic has triggered a public health and economic crisis on a scale unseen in generations and has been exacerbated by systematic problems such as inequality, there's that word again, and great power posturing. The only acceptable response to such a crisis is to pursue a great reset of our economies, of our politics, and our societies. Completely resetting all of those, by the way. Indeed, this is a moment to reevaluate the sacred cows of the pre-pandemic system, but also to defund certain long-held values. The task we face is to preserve the accomplishments of the last 75 years or more in a more sustainable form. Then a little further, it says this: but the other shibboleths of our global economic system will need to be reevaluated with an open mind. Chief among these is the neoliberal ideology. Free market fundamentalism has eroded worker rights and economic security, triggered a derogatory race to the bottom, an erroneous tax competition, and enabled the emergence of massive new global monopolies. And then they state specifically, we need to reconsider our collective commitment to capitalism as we have known it. So the enemy of the new world order, the globalist at the very top of the pyramid, is capitalism. Why? Because true capitalism, not crony capitalism, but real capitalism in its purest form, allows little people like you and I to make money in the real world. You see, they can't have that, because if their globalist government dictators are in charge of everything and in charge of all the incomes that everybody makes, will you or I ever have a shot at making money in this world? The answer is no. So we all become part of a slave plantation. But you see, in the name of saving lives, they want to hit that reset button. The World Economic Forum actually put out a video report on this, and I'll leave it below, but I'm not going to link it, where they basically show the world in chaos. There's riots, there's burning, there's tearing down of everything, our pollution, everything from the wildfires to the COVID-19 pandemic. And then they go and show this beautiful picture of heaven on earth. And so basically they say the Great Reset makes heaven, which is just a bunch of load of BS. But I'm not the only one who is calling out what they're doing. There's actually an Australian media from Sky News. Here's what they had to say about the World Economic Forum plan.
You see, the next World Economic Forum isn't just some lovey jet-setters climate gabfest. It's an anti-democratic enterprise designed to destroy your job, steal your prosperity, and rob your kids of a future. It's a hardcore, leftist, eco-horror show replete with quasi-fascism. I spoke a couple of weeks ago here about the disturbing trend among many of the world's left-wing elites to increasingly conflate COVID-19 with climate change, with many going so far as to suggest that all the measures applied to the coronavirus, the lockdowns, the destruction of businesses, the suppression of dissent, curfews, strong-arm police tactics, should become the new normal for dealing with climate change. And indeed, that is precisely what the next World Economic Forum is planning to do.
You know what's interesting is that's exactly what I said on my channel on Restricted Republic months ago. I have been warning and screaming that these COVID-19 restrictions are not going to go away because they want them around, but they're going to convert it, right? Instead of the pandemic, they're going to make it all about saving humanity for climate change. You want to know what kind of restrictions are around the corner? It's going to make what we did with COVID-19 look easy, because they're not going to give us more. They're going to take more away. Freedom or complete and utter police state. That's what we're faced with. You see, some of the things that some of the restrictions that we're going to have, right, or continue to stick around, restrictions on when you can and can't leave your house. You know, in order to save the planet, you got to spend a little less gas in your car. So there's only so many miles that we're going to let you and your family travel, and certain restrictions on that. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to allow you to take those family vacations all the time, because in order to save the planet or stop a pandemic, doesn't matter if it's pandemic or climate change, we can't let you travel to that destination that you want to go to the beach because, well, there's gas being used and pollutants in the air, or we're filling it up with too much CO2, so you need to stay home for a bit. And then when you're at home, you're going to be told when you can and can't turn on certain appliances, because we have to conserve electricity. So you'll be told how and when you can set your thermostat, what you can set it at. And if you don't, they're going to regulate it for you through the electric companies, and the electric companies will be forced to comply. But don't worry. We're saving the planet, you see. Just like we're saving the planet from millions of lives with COVID-19, when in reality, millions aren't really dying, but millions are dying from all the restrictions of COVID-19. Internationally, that's on restrictedrepublic.com. You see, your every move will be tracked. Everything tracked, right? It'll all be tracked with our phones. There will be lockdowns, limited gatherings. You'll be told what you can and can't eat, specifically meat, because that has to deal with cows and the environment. This is the new Green Deal. What you're seeing today is exactly what they're looking and wanting with this Agenda 21, Agenda 30, Agenda. I've read the whole thing. And while Agenda 21 doesn't specifically call all that out, this is exactly what the globalists are telling us they want. Let's keep this strong-arm military police state around to save the planet, when in reality, the only person it's saving is their pockets and putting more money in their hands. Well, I've had enough. Anyhow, please don't forget to check out my partner at hidewithlisa.com. Look, one of the ways that you can really combat the corruption that we're all faced with today is to have a VPN. And right now, they've got an amazing special, highly discounted rate for the 24-month offer. I believe it's around $2.50. But this thing is much needed, because if you don't want anybody to know what you're looking at on the internet, it's nobody's business. Well, this VPN gives that to you. I will not leave home or in my home without it. I use it everywhere, on my cell phones, on my computer, at home, and every time I am on Wi-Fi. It is absolutely critical that your information is kept for you and you alone. So check it out at hidewithlisa.com. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.